should be live, possibly. Maybe. At some point. Oh, right. Yep, it's coming. It's coming. Hello everyone, I'm Iron Phoenix and welcome to Unity Development Shiz. Normally I would do a live stream or something anyway on a Monday, but some PewDiePie stuff came up the weekend. I want to chat about that, and I want an excuse to do some development stuff, and I also want an excuse to test out some development stuff to see how popular it is to watch. Just kind of experiment really, to see what people are into. And I have kind of considered doing some development streams which are almost like silent streams. So it's me just doing some development stuff with some music in the background. I'm going to be mainly working on main menu, but I'm going to be talking about some various little bits and pieces. So if you're interested in sort of games development, and like keyboard shortcuts and just some various little technical bits, I'll be talking about some bits and pieces like that. But I want to start off with PewDiePie stuff because it's interesting in a strange way. So I probably should give some background in case you're seeing this for the first time. So this channel started as a tutorial channel for Valve Hammer tutorials, and it expanded from that into what you see today, which is pretty much a bit of a cluster of all sorts of different things. So I do some tutorial stuff, some let's plays, some streams. It's a real sort of big, some news, real big sort of mishmash of all sorts of things. And yeah, I like it like that. There's always something new on here and something different, and yeah, it exists anyway. So meanwhile, whilst I was working mainly with Hammer, which is the Valve thing, I was actually at college at that point. But anyway, it's sort of, you know, time moved on, and I did spend some time in the games industry. It's not really a secret. I can't go into details on that, particularly because of non-disclosure agreements and all that. But yeah, I did spend some time in the gaming industry, the other side of the testing wall, as it were. So I understand a little bit about how bugs occur and how very small problems can become very big problems. So I understand a fair amount of sort of that side of things. But the whole YouTube stance was a little bit of a new place for me, I guess. And so it's only been quite recently where we've started to get these DMCA attacks from people who don't like what other people are saying, basically. And I'm just gonna see where I've got to. There's the inventory stuff, that's the distillation stuff, that's the stuff for the train, which I will need to work on at some point, but it's not working properly yet. Okay, so I'm going to be doing some tutorial stuff mainly. All of this needs to come out. And yeah, there's bugs. This is the main menu and there's bugs. So yeah, so that's basically the background where I'm coming from when it comes to development stuff. I wanted to start making things, making my own ideas kind of come into flesh. And the only real ways of doing that were either through things like Minecraft, where you can build your world around a sort of a set view, or something like Unity, which is what this is. This is the Unity editor, and it's rather nice, I have to say. I did use Unreal for a little while, but it's just better. So what we've got here is pretty much standalone editor. It contains, oh God's sake, for goodness sake, it's doing that again. Right, this is going to be interesting because it's not actually showing up. Why is it doing that? It's on the monitor. Oh no, it's because you're 5 seconds behind. Right. Yeah, it's a rather nice editor for gaming editor, though you do have to use it in the right way. I'm just doing a whole load of background stuff at the moment. There's quite a lot to sort of cover on this. So yeah, and what I would say to anybody who wants to make a game is to find an engine that works for you, be it Game Maker or Unity or Unreal Engine or whatever. Doesn't matter. Just dive in and do it, because it's worth doing. It's worth learning how to code things. You never know when it might be useful in the future, and even if you never get anywhere with it, at least you can say you tried. At least you can say you did it. And actually, an awful lot of what I learnt through the gaming industry, I can sort of transfer that into... It's one of those slightly strange things where your brain sort of gets rewired slightly, so you notice things that are a little bit odd, a little bit more. I don't know, can't really explain that. But certainly in my day job, I am a little bit more aware of when things have gone wrong, when something isn't right. Again, I can't explain it. It's just a thing that happens. Right, I need to do some fix these collision meshes. I need to fix a few things in this level and build this tutorial section, all whilst talking about PewDiePie. And well, not necessarily about him. I mean, everybody will have heard the drama by now. PewDiePie said a word on a stream that will have drawn a bit of flack, and he did apologise for it on the stream. It sort of slipped out. You know, it's something that happens every so often. There was the Hunt incident in Britain, and I'm not necessarily talking about that. You know, he shouldn't have said it. You know, it boils down to he shouldn't have said it. What I more want to talk about, actually I need to go to some of these. What I more want, these are just backup files. What I more want to talk about is this idea of DMCAs being used as a weapon, partly, but also this idea that Let's Plays differ from reviews because reasons. This is the thing. This is an argument that I saw pop up. I, value people's opinions. Total Biscuit, Nerdcubed. I read Dan Nerdcube's Twitter feed, and he seemed to be sort of the opinion that the Firewatch developers were completely in their right to DMCA PewDiePie's Firewatch video based on what he said in a live stream for PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. And they kind of said, well, it's because it's a Let's Play and technically they're using our copyright, etc, etc. And I was thinking about this, and I was wondering what makes a Let's Play differ from a review, because it is an interesting thing to kind of think about, because I need to go into that one, and it'll just show me that, and then I can do that and then do those. Yeah, it's rather an interesting thing that I thought, because actually you do use Let's Plays in some aspects as a review, or as a sort of a way to see if you actually want to buy the game or not. Actually, I can use Cavern for my for the start of the tutorial. This should look quite nice, actually. If I do that and I do 180, just flip it over. No, not. Can I say 180? Just flip it around, and then we just need to get up to it. We'll sort of do that for now. So you can kind of come through here, and I can block up around here. Okay. Raise lower terrain, and we'll want to build in some invisible walls just to stop people from getting in here. Oh god, I need to move that in a bit. Brush size, can I just drop them down to 1 and then, yeah, something like that. We'll just force it up for now and then we'll fix this up a little bit later. If I just do smooth height, that should smooth that down. I'll probably want to model this in a little bit. I don't know if that one's got a collision model or not. So yeah, all in all, my own opinion is that it boils down to the fact that, yeah, that's got no collision model. It boils down to the fact that I do think that the DMCA against PewDiePie on the Firewatch video should be rescinded because it is abuse of the system. To say that a Let's Play is any less worth it than a review is ridiculous. I've been watching, oh god, what's his name? Decoherent, little YouTuber. He's got about 1,000 subs. Well worth it. If you like the sort of style of humour that that I use, you know, he's quite a good. You know, he's an American, but he uses a similar sort of humour. And I can, oh yeah, shift to lower. I don't use the terrain tools very much, so yeah. Yeah, so that will be down there like that. So yeah, it's just one of those sort of big messes, and this sort of developer saying things that they probably shouldn't say, and I need to get rid of that smoke 'cause it's tanking the frame rate for some reason. Where is it? Yeah, it's fluffy smoke. It's that one. Get rid of that. I should hide the frame rate. So yeah, that's pretty much my point of view on it. Yeah, so I've been watching Decoherent's Let's Play of We Happy Few, and it's a very good look at what the game involves without actually having to buy the game. And you can see, you know, the state that the game is in may not necessarily be worth it. That's what I wanted to know. You know, is the game actually worth the money that they are asking for? And you look at it as it is now, and I don't think so. You know, it could be good in the future, but unfortunately, right now, it's not worth it. How would I know that without that Let's Play being done? Because the issues that are arising aren't necessarily something that a reviewer, you know, they might not see, they might not pick up on it. There are frame rate problems, you know, little drops here and there, and yeah, it might not be picked up on. So I just need to do that and remove that component, so we have a nice big box. We'll do a level transition here with nice sort of maybe you need to enter into the field and then maybe hold sort of yeah, I should be able to knock something up. JavaScript area trans will do. Oh yeah, that's fine. It's just a test function I was using. Okay. Ultimately, if you don't like what somebody's saying, you can either ignore it, rant about it on Twitter, or troll them back. I wouldn't say using a DMCA is a pretty good tactic, and as I said, I hope they rescind it. I don't like PewDiePie's content at all, but it's no real reason for him to just not exist on YouTube. Because all in all, there are better people out there. And yeah, sure, PewDiePie is one of the most popular YouTubers out there. So what? I don't enjoy his content, and you don't have to either. Simple as. Right. So I need to build this. Sorry. It's not exactly a new keyboard, but everything's sort of moved over slightly, so I'm going to be making a few mistakes. So basically this function will basically say, and I will just add in a debug var. So basically the piece of code that I'm currently writing is a level transition. So the player will enter the level transition area, but I don't want it to automatically do it. I want them to be aware of what they're doing. So as a start, just as a little piece of code that I usually put in with these, just to make sure that the on trigger is actually working, I will usually put something like debug equals true equals. I really can't spell tonight. But while I was kind of planning on doing a video on this, you see, not a stream, an actual video. And what I ended up finding myself talking about was how a little bit about the whole idea of criticism within games, and you know, the useful things of criticism, the things that will create the things that are useful for people to learn, basically. I believe there was an awful lot of useful criticism, for example, within the Slaughtering Grounds, the Jim Sterling review of Slaughtering Grounds. I do believe that there was an awful lot of useful information in there, but it was, I guess you could say it was obscured by, I haven't actually added the thing to it. That would be better. It was almost obscured by Jim Sterling's sort of way of portraying this information. And to a developer who would be fairly easily insulted, I guess, I could understand why it might be that oh yeah, that is working good, why they might respond how they did. And I believe that as you know, no matter what you create in this world, you're always going to get people who don't like what you are doing. And I'll just snip back to here for a sec. So, for example, I know that there are bugs in this game, and I'm going to start pointing them out because there may be some that you've noticed. For example, that is hold on. There's no cursor. The cursor doesn't lock properly, so you get the cursor in the middle of the screen. That's a known issue. That doesn't have a UV map. It has the texture over it. It just doesn't have the map yet. These are illegible, and you can potentially just walk out over the hills and far away if you wanted to. There's no sort of back. There's no enclosure here. And this is the main menu, so I've kind of got to, I will eventually make sure that everything's enclosed, that there are either high hills or high walls, things to stop people from exploring out of the area that I want them to be able to explore into. However, the tutorial should be accessible from the main menu by walking over to it. There should also be a way of exiting the game, both through a menu which hasn't been built yet, and that should also be accessible through the game itself, and also a sort of an exit point, if you like. So once the player exits from here, this will activate the exit point of this, so you'll be able to stand in here and then thus exit the game, possibly. Something along those lines anyway. Rough ideas and all that. So anyway, so these need to be redone. All of the models need textures and actual proper placements. Let me just move that. yeah, this needs an entire sort of factory complex thing to look at, so that when you do your transition, you end up in the area that I want you to be in, basically. And then, yeah, so you walk into the debug area and it gives you that. But, you know, it also got me thinking about tutorials and key bindings and all sorts of things, because the key bindings and tutorials do kind of mix into one another, and I absolutely hate this idea of having to make a tutorial for idiots, because the vast majority of people know how to play a game. So you can pretty much breeze through your movement controls, because your movement controls are fairly explanatory. You don't need to say, well, what you need to do is press W, A, S and D 3 times each, because there's no need for it. People can understand very, very quickly that if you put your hand onto the keyboard keys with your middle finger on W, your hand falls in a very natural position around all the keys that you want to use with that hand. Okay, that was weird. I won't be going on for much longer anyway. It's basically just going to be a quick half-hour stream, chatting about the latest drama and doing some development stuff and talking about the things that annoy me in games these days, which quite a lot of it is to do with the tutorial. And I can be put off a game quite quickly by it having a really long tutorial that teaches you things that you really don't need to learn, but for some reason is some kind of an enforced aspect of the game. So as a result, I mean, my tutorial over here, it's basically going to be split up into the movement section, which is literally just going to be a very, very simple area. You know, one room that covers all of the movement stuff. Then there's going to be a few rooms that cover technology levels, because you are going to need to know about ancient tech, new tech, and old tech. And then simple using of machines, so a light switch, press E on light switch, light turns on, that sort of thing. Then you've got the more advanced stuff, which is going to be how to turn on a generator, which is not going to be as easy as you might think. It's not going to be as easy as push said one button. It's going to be more about, you know, having to let it spin up, engaging the gearbox, all that sort of stuff. And then the final section will be, oh god, what was the final section going to be? Oh, repairing things, you know, what you need to do. So things like ancient tech doesn't need to be repaired. All it needs to be done is just to turn it on. But your new tech and old tech is going to need to be repaired using slightly different methods. So yeah, that's sort of my tutorial side of things, and that's the sort of tutorials that I want to see in games these days. You know, just go over the basics very, very quickly, and then design your game to proceed through the basics and make them more complicated slowly but surely. Hello to the person that's just joined us. I'm probably going to be ending in about 5 minutes or so. My back hurts a lot. Did something last week. So yeah, those are, I guess, those are sort of my basic theories on computer games and how things should be set out and how not to use a DMCA, I guess. I'm gonna quickly finish off this this level transition at least. So when the player enters there, they do need a message. So we do want to place a message on there saying something along the lines of, "Are you almost like, are you sure you want to continue?" sort of thing. It's called user confirmation of destructive action. So user confirmation of destructive and usually you would only have one of these. There's no logical point to having 5 or 6 confirmations of a destructive action, like some people do believe that you need. Okay, right, as it turns out that my internet does not like me streaming anything tonight, I'm going to end this video here. Sorry for all the dipping in and outs, and hopefully sort of get back to it at some point. If you're interested in seeing more dev streams, just, you know, give it a thumbs up or something, I don't know. Watch it. That's usually how I work out if people like stuff. I just watch the view counts most of the time. So yeah, with that anyway, I'll probably be back either Wednesday or Friday. We'll kind of just see how things go. But yeah, with that, I will say thanks very much for watching. I'll see you next time.